Hi there. This is a sad little video that I'm making. My beloved DSG automatic gearbox model DL501 has failed. One of the sensors right smack in the middle of it started to give errors, and that thing will give more and more errors until it will not allow me to basically drive. So it needs to go to a shop that fixes automatic gearboxes. I will take it to Auto Shift in Cluj-Napoca in Romania. I've seen shops in Timișoara, in Arad. If you search in forums in Romania, you will find lots of people that had problems with those shops. With the one in Cluj, everybody is happy with it. So yeah, I have to do a bit of driving until I get to them, but at least they will do what they need to do on this gearbox and change that sensor, review the mechatronics, the valves, the solenoids, the clutch, maybe the dual mass flywheel. I'm not even sure where it's situated in this car. Is it close to the clutches? I need to talk to them about that, if they can also check that. Basically, we will do everything that we need to do to make sure this gearbox is in tip-top condition. I think that's how you say. Anyway, next I will show you the errors. Up until now, it has given me errors while I was with the engine on in park and this on. It told me gearbox malfunction. You can continue driving, whatever. I wasn't even driving. Then it gave me errors when on the road, same thing. Then once it was something more, it was worse, a worse error. I don't exactly remember the wording. The idea is when I used the brake and actually came to a stop, it took me out of gear. And it didn't allow me to put it, it did allow me to put it in park, but didn't allow me to get it out of park. I needed to stop the engine, wait a while, and then start again the engine. It didn't even start as it does normally. I needed to hold the key for a while for it to start, but it started, and then I drove a few hundred kilometers. It gave me an error once again on the highway, but it cleared by itself. Anyway, it's weird. I will show you the stored errors. It's that particular sensor right smack in the middle of the gearbox. Hopefully, best case, I don't know, 700, 800 euros, maybe if I'm lucky, 600. Worst case, 2,300, 2,400 euros for the whole gearbox to be renewed, to say like that. As I understand from the guys, the electronics board in this gearbox is not a fragile one, so in theory it will not break easily. So if we renew this gearbox, the rest of it, I should have it for a few more years without issues. We will see. Anyway, let us see the error. I will try and talk to them to see if they can provide all the parts that they will change. I will see how we will put them in the trunk so they don't spill oil all over, because everything in this gearbox is covered in the oil. Every single whole crevice will have oil in it, so I need to put something in the trunk so we don't spill it all over. Hopefully the guys there will help me with this, and I will show you the parts that were changed. And yeah, hope for the best. My biggest hope is that the clutch pack is still in good condition. I don't need to also change that, but if it's not in good condition, we are obviously changing it now, even if it's still working. That's about that. Let me show you the errors. So here are the errors from the transmission. I've sent from OBD11 an email to myself to have the errors for later reference. So it's one P179E00 and P179F00. Basically this thingy right here, drive position sensor, malfunction and electrical error. And that thing needs to be replaced And when you get these errors, as you can see, brakes will give you errors. What else? Keyless system, no, this thing, yeah, trouble codes again. Because of the gearbox error, it has an error. Then I think something else will have an error. Yeah, here in Central Electrics, it's more modules are giving errors just to make you go and read the error in the transmission, because this is the one causing all of the others. So hopefully we will fix this. Hopefully I will be able to go to Cluj-Napoca by car. In theory I should, but let's hope it will not get me out of gear on the highway, because that's not going to be fun, and I will need a platform to take the car the rest of the way. We will see. But yeah, these are the errors that we will attempt to fix. Hopefully as cheap as possible, but I don't have my hopes high up. The car is back, and these are all the parts that were replaced. And yes, I paid a ton of money for this fix. It was 2,600 euros. Yay! But we have a fully rebuilt 7-speed DSG generation 1. So let's see what they needed to replace. This just seemed to be some seals. I have no idea exactly from what part of the box, the gearbox that is. Let's see. This is the small clutch. As far as I know, this is for speeds 2, 7 and 6, and probably also reverse, if I remember correctly. And yes, they were burned. As you can see, normally they should be all nice and shiny. Nope, shiny no more. This thing, when it's new, it's kind of yellow. The clutch material itself, as you can see, burned to a crisp. So they were not failing yet, at least not something catastrophically, but they were about to fail. So there's that. They got replaced. Let's take a look next at the big clutch pack, and I see here only the friction material, which again is quite burned. This is the least colored or burnt of them, but still not yellow at all. And I don't see the metal itself. Probably they didn't put it in the box. Another piece of metal from the smaller one. Anyway, and let's take a look a bit more. Some solenoids. They come in the kit to rebuild the mechatronics. So the full mechatronic was rebuilt. And can we push this thing? I was expecting I can push it with a hand or something. It might actually be rotating like motor. I could potentially open it up in the future to see exactly what's inside of this thing. Do we have any codes on it? We do have some, but anyway, there's that. Let's see a bit more. These are basically just cables, but in our beloved DSG, they do fail. So when you fully open up the gearbox, it's a good idea to also replace these things. And yes, they are included in the mechatronics rebuild kit that has this. It has also this thing, and there's another one, this thing, which again basically it's just a cable flopping around in the breeze inside the gearbox, submerged in oil. But yeah, got replaced. And this is what made us pay so much money before anything else could make us pay so much money. The sensor, which is not, it's common, it's a common fail, but not as common as burnt clutches or failed wires or mechatronics. But for me, sadly, this was it. So as you can see, I think it's a Hall effect sensor, one here and one here, and it tells this thing basically at what speed the inside of the gearbox is rotating, and from that it understands what gear you have selected, or that's my understanding at least of the whole thing. Yeah, all fun and games until it fails like mine did. Anyway, that's about that. This seems to be some kind of seal, so I'm expecting it to make sure probably close to the clutches somewhere. Yeah, it, or maybe on the output of the gearbox. Yeah, for sure its purpose is to not let oil escape or mixed with another type of oil, or who knows. Another seal. What else? Another wire, because why not? So they are all changed. The gearbox filter, the internal one. And here it's a bit weird. I was under the impression that the external one will be also replaced when it's fully rebuilt, but weirdly enough it's not replaced. I will show you a picture that I took under the car earlier with it at the end of showing all these parts, because in my particular model it's not a simple filter inside the case or something. It's basically inside of a pipe with some hoses attached to it, and it's fairly expensive. So I will give them a call Monday, because just now I realized that it was not replaced, and see if they forgot or what happened, or they don't replace that one. It's not necessary. On forums, if you search, many people say that you should also replace that one from time to time. I did replace it a few years ago when I bought the car, but since then it has not been replaced, and after a full rebuild, I don't know, my gut is telling me that it should have been replaced, but I will tell you more on that Monday. Other valves, probably, as you can see, this has a seal, so it's a solenoid that closes some valves somewhere, some things, makes stuff move inside of the gearbox. Sorry that I cannot give you more details about them, because I basically don't know more about them. Another one, like the big one. Yes, and again, I think I will make a separate video at one point to open these things up and tell you if they are just some coils that simply move like this, or they, actually this one it's some coil, but this one could be more of a motor type, although I see some wires going in this direction. So again, probably it's moving just like this, and it's a simple coil. Yep, the wires are going all around, so it cannot rotate like a motor, a little motor inside. It would have been cool for me to have a few little DC motors, but nope, it seems they are not. Another one of these small things. And let's see what else. Some seals, more of them. Another rubber seal. These things are basically the covers for this. Presumably they do fit somehow in there. Not sure if I'm using the correct one, because are these things 100% identical? Yes, they are. Let's see how the cover should actually be matched to it. Yeah, this, no, cannot be. What? Probably this. Yeah, this. So like this, it should stay in here. And it does have some filters in here. Once again. So it's also a seal. As you can see, the white part is a rubber. The black part is plastic. Here we have some metal, so this thing doesn't get squashed. And some seals in there. This thing, it's just from this particular connector. This actually somehow enters here and locks it in place. Not sure how. Presumably you can insert it in there. Ah, yeah, it has some channels, so should I bother? Nah, too much to do. What else? A really big seal that looks like a huge O-ring. Let's put this in here. And a bit of leftover oil from the oil change that I did. When did I do the oil change? I think 7,000 kilometers ago, so I didn't get to even drive too much on that. I will probably open up this filter also, because this filter was replaced when I bought the car, and also replaced the external one. And the oil pan, I think it was replaced at the same time then. And I'm curious to see what's inside of this thing. So I think I will try to get it open right now. And it came apart, not easily. As you can see, many broken pieces. It's heat welded together. And I think this is the part that gathers the oil, and this is the part that takes it to the oil pump. So this is the output. Normally this is cleaner than the input. Now let me figure out a way to get this thing outside to see the other side of it, the dirty side. This is the other side of it. So it was basically like this, and from here this is the dirtier side. Now I see little specks of stuff in there. I do not know if those come from the gearbox itself, or they just flown inside, like this one for example now. So they are just pieces of plastic while I was doing a number on this thing. We have something in there which I'm not sure what it actually is. There we seem to have some weird stuff. You can see it, but why is it only there? And here. So yeah, obviously it did filter some stuff. What can I say? I don't know how a new one looks, probably much lighter in color, but this is not dramatic. So I don't know, maybe the other one also looks, they know that there was no point to change the external one because it was already changed. But did I tell them that it was changed? Did they have any way of knowing that it was actually changed recently? I don't know, that's a bit weird. Again, I will talk to them Monday. And we have a rebuilt gearbox with 2-year warranty without kilometer limit, which is quite cool. For the moment it's working really nice. I don't have that car trying to jerk front or back when I engage drive or reverse. Now it's smooth. It's like you don't even know that you put it in drive or reverse. But you need to step a bit more on it until the clutch is engaged fully. Maybe that will change over the time when they just, I don't know, they make a better contact surface from the clutch to the metal itself, because they are new, they are not contacting perfectly, I think. I will also talk to the guys that rebuild it about this. And I've seen sometimes a bit of RPM surge. Actually I should show you like this, about 200 RPM when changing gears. So basically going from a third to fourth, for example, instead of directly dropping down, when it engages fourth, it rises really shortly, about 200 RPM, and then goes down. So maybe again the gearbox itself, the brain, is learning the bite points on the clutches. I'm sure they did the adaptation, the initial one, because I don't think I could have driven so nicely without it. But probably the car is still learning. And yes, I did from Cluj to where I'm now. I mostly went on highway, so it didn't get a chance to change gears too much. it didn't have time to really learn where the clutches bite exactly when changing gears, because if you do the adaptation you are standing still, so I don't think it's the same thing. Anyway, that's that. And another thing that I've seen from the steering wheel, it's like I have right in the middle two little bumps. So I don't know, I move my hand and a little bump, and then I go back, a little bump once again. They were not there before, but the guys told me that they when they do this, probably when taking off the gearbox, they also had something to do with the direction of the car. So maybe worn out parts, when they assemble them back, are not put together exactly as they worn out about from 2400,000 kilometers. Did I say that wrong? So 240 and 3000, how much this car has, and I don't think anything in the direction part of things, the steering part of things wasn't changed. So probably those are worn out, and now that they moved stuff around, it will take a bit of time until those small bumps were out. If I stand still with the car, I have no play, absolutely nothing. Just when driving, I feel something. Anyway, that's the third thing that I will talk to them on Monday. And yeah, that's about it. Apart from that, again, 2-year warranty with no kilometer limit, which is quite good for this, in my opinion. If anything is wrong, it will come out quicker than that. Okay, let's get under the car. I will try to show you the filter that's on the outside in generation 1 7-speed DSG for a quattro. So it's the DL501 gearbox 0B5. It's another name for the same thing, and the filter is that one right there, and that's not a new piece, it's for sure. And yeah, you hopefully can see it. It's connected to, or you cannot see it, it's connected to all kind of hoses and whatnot, but that's an old part for sure. Yeah, this part is also from this filter, and newer gearboxes where we have this black plastic piece have actually a filter. One moment. Okay, just an idiot passing by. Newer gearboxes of the same type actually have a replaceable filter instead of this plastic, so they realized that it's a bit too expensive and too complicated to replace this whole thing right there, which has a filter in it. And yeah, that's about it. I will see what the guys that rebuild the gearbox will say about this. There is corrosion on the part, so clearly this is not a new part. Okay, let's do a bit of screen recording for me to explain the filter part. This little filter here coincides with the price that I have on the papers that I received from AutoShift. So on the papers it's like they replaced this filter, but my car sadly doesn't have this cheap and easy to replace filter, because as you could see, my car does not have this part right here. My plastic is only up until here, and sadly the plastic itself cannot be replaced from my generation of gearbox with this plastic from the newer generation, because they didn't keep the holes in the same position. Thank you, Audi. Anyway, so they probably just replaced this one. Jesus, that scared me, the electrical oven. Anyway, so they probably just replaced this thing, but somehow I paid also for this one, because it was miscommunication between the guy that worked on the car and the guy that made the papers. That's not a problem, they will probably give me the money back if I'm right. The problem is that my filter, my secondary external filter, did not actually get replaced. And I'm not sure how that goes in the terms of longevity for this gearbox, because it's not ideal. When you do something like this, you replace every single filter. Anyway, and yeah, what I was showing you there, I think it was as a seal. I think it was this foil from the oil pan, just cut in two so it fits in my my small sealed bag that they put all the parts in. So they were not two weird seals, it was just two parts from the oil pan. And something else that I want to show you, this kit, it seems it doesn't contain the really weird cable that has a weird shape to it that I showed you, because it just contains these two smaller ones, but they also replaced the bigger one in my gearbox, which is not again from this kit, but it's great that they replaced it, because that's another point of fail. It's somewhere through here, through the mechatronics. It's Jesus, it's, yeah. Anyway, you can see one of them in here. I think this is the second one, and apart from that really long one, which actually goes through the back of the whole thing and connects to the other one, if I recall correctly. Anyway, that's about that. I will keep you posted about the filter part. Kind of bugs me that it wasn't changed with a full rebuild, but I do have warranty. But I don't know, the impact of not being changed could be seen maybe in 5 years, 6 years, and I don't plan on changing this car too soon. So I want every bit of longevity to not need to pay for a full gearbox rebuild as long as the car is in my possession and being used. So yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to clear stuff up. Something else that I wanted to show you and forgot previously, this is the color of good clutches. So it's quite yellowish. You can also see it here. It's not dark brown like this one, for example. This is a bad clutch, a worn out one. This is new clutch color. So yeah. And these ones probably are not OEM, because in AutoShift uses Audi original parts, OEM parts, to rebuild the gearboxes, and they are yellowish, quite light in color. As you can see, these things are quite dark, but AliExpress, you don't want that in a really expensive gearbox, trust me. Anyway, that's about that. Okay, we are ready to end this video. As you can see, the car is filthy on the outside and also on the inside, so hopefully some sunny days will come to get it a bit cleaner. All I can say from the start, all is good now. Let me try to explain. So the steering issues that I was feeling had nothing to do with the geometry of the wheels or anything like that. They didn't change anything in that, but it seems they need to remove the steering rack or something, the pointy thing that goes into the steering box, because it's in the way of something when they remove the gearbox. So they lose a bit of steering fluid and they add new fluid. What I'm thinking, that the new fluid simply changed the way this really old steering box behaved. Now it's back to normal. I don't feel that part sticking. It had a point somewhere right in the middle where it just didn't flow nicely. It's not there anymore, so it sorted itself out in time. And I think it was just because they changed part of the fluid or all of it. I'm not sure how they said. Did they change it all or just add it? Anyway. So that was probably it and nothing more. And in their defense, even though there's no need for a defense because the thing sorted itself, this steering box, it's freaking old. So it could fail who knows when, but again, it's working perfectly now, and I hope it will not fail, because I don't want to pour even more money into this car at the moment. At least not on repairs. On modifications, well, that's another thing, and probably you think the same as I do. Modifications, doesn't matter how much money we put into it. Repairs, ooh, no. Anyway, so steering sorted. Gear changes now are perfectly. So this thing actually recalibrated itself in time. There's no need to do another adaptation or something like that, but it took a bit of driving for it to sort itself out, which is kind of obvious because it was fully rebuilt. So the brain of it didn't know what to think of all the info that what it was getting, because it was contradicting all that had been stored previously from the worn out parts. Anyway, gearbox working perfectly, this working perfectly. And about the filter that they didn't replace, the one in the metal can with hydraulic pipes directly connected to the housing of it, they went 100% honest with me, and they said they never changed that thing. It's not listed as a replacement part or a serviceable, or I don't know how to say it, part when you do maintenance on the gearbox. It's something that you replace when you replace also the gearbox. So I honestly would have preferred to change it. If I would have known that they will not change it, I would have told them to change it, but it was already changed on this car 4 years ago or something like that. So it's not the one that it came with the car, it's a much newer one, obviously, and maybe in 2 or 3 years, who knows when, I might change it once again. So yeah, they just didn't know that you should change that, because it's not listed anywhere. I learned it on random forums because people were saying, hey, that's also a filter, you should change it. Anyway, so that's about that. I'm okay with the filter anyway, and everything again seems to be working perfectly. Yes, it was damn expensive, but nothing that we can do. We like these things. Guess live with the consequences of it failing, but at the moment it's like I have a new gearbox, everything working perfectly. It's not letting me down in an intersection like it used to do back in the day randomly. It's just up and go, and away we go, and everything working as expected. So thank you to the shop that they fixed this, and that they do a good job and show you the parts and explain to you everything. Hopefully more shops would be like that, but yeah, that's about it. Said that I paid a lot of money, but again, comes with the territory. If you buy an automatic, yes, there is a chance somewhere down the line that you will pay a lot. If you are not the type of person that when you see an engine check you clear it and put the car on sale, if you are that kind of person, you suck. That's not how you do it. At least tell that person that you are selling to, dude, I'm selling it, I don't have money to fix it, take it or leave it. Anyway, rant over. That's about it for this video. Hope it helps you, in which case please give it a like, check out my other videos, and I see you in the next one. Bye.